I decided to whip out the old Polaris 75, the disappointment of my collection, to sort of explain as to why I always use an acrylic switch tester for my sound tests and my switch testing, rather than using a keyboard. And the reason is exactly one word: consistency. The reason why I always find it very annoying with a lot of keyboard reviews or some standard switch reviews is that some people will try to compare switches by putting one different switch in like a row when that introduces so much variability that I can't see myself ever doing that unless if it's for like silent switches, in which that doesn't really matter. But in terms of like tactile switches, linear switches, or even clicky switches, there always seems to be a weird sort of consensus that a good sound test or a good sound comparison is if you just put them in a row and just click them and be like, oh, I like the sound of this one. Because I do remember specifically when the H1s came out, Taya Types on Twitch was doing a blind test in terms of sound and feel, I suppose, in like a row, and he put them in different spots. But the thing is that introduces a lot of different types of variables, I suppose, and I think it's just way too time consuming when it comes to simple switch reviews in terms of consistency. Because even if you move a switch over one slot, it's going to sound different, even if it has the same keycap, and I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Over here in my hands, I have a Zealios V2. I have it lubed and filmed, and I'm going to put it in 3 different switch spots. As a matter of fact, actually no, I'm gonna put 4. Let me give me a fucking moment. I'm gonna put them in 4 spots actually. Give me a moment. All right. Cool. I'm gonna put it inside the side here, which is where the home and the, what key was this? The delete key was, along with a right alt and the G key. And you can tell how different they sound in every slot. I'm going to use the same keycap. I'm going to use this row 1 home button. So let's get started. Let's start with the G. Let's start with the G key. So let's see what it sounds like with the G spot. Yeah, he just what I did there. Okay, doesn't sound too bad. Let's move it over to the right alt key. Already it sounds pretty different. It sounded more high-pitched and a little bit more stiff. Alright, let's move it to the delete area right here. Home key again. Already sounds pretty different again. And let's just move it 1 row up to where the home key is supposed to be, which is its natural spot. And here's a 4 in a row comparison to see how different it is. And you may be all like, oh wait, this is just Zeal V2s, what about other switches? Well, the entirety of these switches are all Halias switches, which is my own personal favorite switch, which was a Halo stem inside an Alias 60-gram spring housing switch. I don't know what words are, and all of them sound different. For example, here's R, and here's T. Here's U, and here's J. So the fact that I still see sound tests out there where the same exact switch is in like one spot and another switch is being compared to is in another spot, and they say that's it. That's a good comparison. Oh, I like the sound of this one or this one better. No, it doesn't work that way. And that's why I use acrylic switch testers, because acrylic switch testers make it really easy for me to pop out the switch from the bottom without having to use a keycap puller or a key switch puller. And it just allows me to control the variables in what goes into a sound test, because again, the one thing that plagues every sound test that I've seen, around like 80% of them, is that they always do one test where, say, like a Zelios V2 goes into a G key, and the other key, let's say like a T1 goes into a J or H key, and then they don't do anything else. Or if they do, it would be like you have a 4 row of one switch from TYUI, and then another switch from the GHJK, and they do that and be like, oh, that's a switch comparison. When even the keycap things are different. Like, come on, man. Like, you gotta be more professional than that. At least know the consistency rules. So, anyway, I'm a little bitch. This is pretty much my rant about it, and I hope this is clear as to why I use this acrylic switch tester. And that's why when I get my keyboards out of customs, I'm assuming that's where it's stuck at. I'll promise to keep it the same, because I do have 2 keyboards coming in, 2 projects. One, the Saka 68 from Feather and CMM Studios, and another special one that's been stuck in customs and I haven't seen an update since April 12th. I want to die. Take it easy.